Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Good Food Hood Dude. I'm Chef D, and I'm gonna bring you some dope ass dishes. So on today's episode, we're gonna be making a pan-seared top sirloin, parsnip puree, roasted rainbow carrots with a red wine reduction. Let's get to it. All right guys, so let's get to these ingredients. So for today's episode, our ingredients are, we have a nice bunch of rainbow colored carrots here, which we're gonna roast, season and roast. We have a nice piece of top sirloin, which is gonna get pan seared to about medium. And then we're gonna serve that with a parsnip puree. Obviously we have some nice parsnips here, which we'll peel and cut thin. And then we'll cook those with some fresh thyme, some almond milk, and some chicken stock. For our red wine reduction, our red wine today is Black Girl Magic. So we're gonna go ahead and reduce that with some shallots and a little bit of butter. All right guys, so let's start out by doing our parsnip puree. So parsnips are full of a lot of nutrients, guys. There's a lot of fiber, good antioxidants. It also has a really rich natural sweetness to it. So yeah, these are super dope. Let's go ahead and peel one of them, and I'll demonstrate how to do that. So we just want to kind of take our vegetable peeler and just kind of run gently down, straight down the edge of the parsnip. I'm gonna kind of get as much of that brown stuff off as possible, and then that's it, guys. This is good enough. So let me show you how we want to cut our parsnip. So we'll take it and just kind of cut the little end off, and then we'll just cut this guy into like thin slices. The thinner they are, the quicker they'll be able to cook, and the faster you'll be able to puree these. I'd say about quarter-inch thick, and that's it, guys. This is what you're looking for, and then we can go ahead and start cooking these off. And then let's go ahead and get them in the pan, start to saute them with our thyme, and then we'll add in our liquid. All right guys, so let's go ahead and start out with about 2 tablespoons of olive oil right into your nice hot sauce pot. Just a little bit more. And from there, once your oil is nice and hot, go ahead and start adding in your parsnips. This amount will probably add in about maybe 2 cups of the sliced parsnips. Just a little bit of salt and pepper. So I'd say about maybe a tablespoon of salt, and about a teaspoon of black pepper, cracked black pepper. We're gonna take a couple of our thyme sprigs and just add that right to the parsnips and get those nice thyme leaves. And that's good, guys. So as you can see, we're starting to get some color already on our parsnips. Just want to kind of stir that around a little bit. In the meantime, let's take a look at our rainbow carrots. All right guys, so we have these beautiful rainbow carrots here. Take my vegetable peeler and just run it clean down, gently down the edge of the carrot. Just kind of leaving the stem on, just to kind of help guide you through it. And then that's it. We just want a clean carrot like that, and we'll do that with all of our carrots, just so we get them clean and ready to be roasted. All right, we're going to do that with the rest of these carrots, and we'll get them ready for roasting. All right guys, so look at this. Our parsnips got some nice color on them. At this point, we can go ahead and add in some chicken stock to begin letting these kind of boil and get soft. So I just added in about a cup of chicken stock, and so what we'll do is just kind of let that cook out, let these parsnips soften up a little bit more, and then we'll come back and check it later. In the meantime, I'm gonna bounce back over to these carrots and get them ready for roasting. All right, guys, so this is what your carrots will look like once they're peeled. We just took a thin layer off the outer edge of the carrot. So let's go ahead and prep these and season them, get them ready to be roasted. So to do that, I'm gonna just kind of take this stem off. I'll leave a little bit of the stem on and just kind of clean it up a little bit. You'll be left with something like that. This is the first step in prepping our carrots. So in order to get these to cook evenly, we're just gonna cut the ones that are thicker right down the middle. All right, guys, so again, just cut these right down the middle, lengthwise, and you get that beautiful color inside as well. This is just to help us have our carrots cook evenly. And these longer ones too, you can even kind of cut them on a bias, something like that, if you want it to be you know, evenly and shorter too. So there's a couple different ways that you can do this, but ultimately you just want them to cook evenly. All right, guys, so once they're cut, go ahead and put them in a bowl, and then we're just going to go ahead and season them with some olive oil, salt and pepper, and pop them in the oven. So let's go ahead and do that. So again, a little bit of olive oil, about maybe 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Then we have some kosher salt here. I say about a generous amount, maybe like a tablespoon, maybe less than a tablespoon, about a half a tablespoon. And then same thing with the cracked black pepper. Just going to go ahead and generously season those, and then go ahead and toss them. Make sure they're evenly coated with all of that nice olive oil, salt and pepper. And then from here, we're going to lay them on our roasting pan and get them into the oven. And we can just kind of lay them flat right onto our roasting pan. Just kind of separate them a little bit so that those colors don't bleed onto each other. And this will also help them to cook, you know, more quickly when they're in the oven. So just kind of give them enough space. Make sure you get a nice arrangement of colors. And then we're good to go, guys. Let's go ahead and get these guys in the oven. I have this oven preheated to 375. I say 375 on convection roast for about maybe 15 minutes or so. You want to check the tenderness of them. So let's go ahead and get them in. So we have our carrots roasting in the oven right now. We have our parsnips kind of cooking down, getting soft. So while that's happening, I'm gonna start prepping for my red wine reduction. So to do that, again, we have a nice shallot here. I'm just gonna cut the ends off, and then just kind of mince this shallot. So I'm just gonna cut that in half again, and just kind of put this to the side. This is all we'll need. We won't need a lot of shallot. So I'm just gonna cut lines straight through, and then just kind of gently run my knife through, and then turn it facing me, and then cut some more lines into it. This will help me get some nice mince on my shallot. So once I have it lined up like that, I can kind of just run my knife evenly through it, and then I have these nice small pieces of shallot, and this will definitely go good in my red wine reduction. All right, guys, so as you can see, we got some nice color on our parsnips. They are soft, so we want to taste it, guys, to make sure the seasoning is on point. So oh, that has great flavor. So now that they're soft and they have flavor, we're gonna go ahead and add in our almond milk. I added about maybe a half a cup of almond milk to this, and I'm just gonna let that come up and get hot again. And then once it gets hot, because our desired softness, our desired tenderness is there with our parsnips, the flavor is there, we can go ahead and puree this right in the pot. I have a hand blender, so I'll show you guys how to do that. All right, guys, so I have this hand blender here. I'm gonna use this to puree my parsnips right into the pot. You can also use a regular blender. The key with that is just not to over add your liquid, because you can always add more liquid to something, but you can't remove it. So you wanna make sure you add just enough to get a smooth puree. And then if you need to add more liquid later, you can. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this plugged in, and then we'll get this parsnip puree buzzed up. So let's bring our pot over right on top of the pot holder, and then we can go ahead. And so the key with the hand blender is you want to make sure it's inside the liquid first. As you can see, guys, this is starting to thicken up. And you want this to be the consistency of like smooth mashed potatoes. So you just want to kind of make sure you use your blender to kind of get everything smoothed out. If you see any little pieces in there, make sure you get those buzzed up. And turn this up a little bit. Very smooth, very creamy. A lot of flavor. You don't want to see any chunks in your parsnip puree. All right, guys, so we reached the desired consistency. If you can see, this is definitely a nice smooth puree. That's good. So at this point, we're gonna let that sit there and then check on our carrots. So our carrots should be nice and roasted. Let's go ahead and pull those out. So we'll just sit those there, let those rest while we go ahead and start our steak. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get our steak seasoned. Again, this is a nice piece of top sirloin. Okay, so let's hit it with some salt and pepper on both sides. Let's season on one side, flip it, do the other side, a little salt and pepper. Nice, generous amount. So now let's go ahead and get this into our pan. I'm gonna just go ahead and turn my oven up from 375 to 500 and just let that get hot. I got my saute pan here getting hot, getting ready for the steak. All right, guys, so our pan is nice and hot. So we're going to ahead add in about a tablespoon of olive oil. And you can tell that's nice and hot because your oil is moving around very quickly. That's good. So you can get a nice sear on your steak. So let's go ahead and add it into our pan. All right, so what I'm gonna do is let this get a nice sear on each side. So I'm just gonna kind of allow that to get a nice caramelization on each side. So yeah, just kind of toss it. So guys, you know when your pan is hot enough, when you add in your meat and it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan, that's good. That's how you want to sear your meat. So again, we're getting a nice color. As you can see, we already got a nice color on the bottom. So let's go ahead and put it on the side and do that with all sides and finish it on the bottom. And then we can pop it in the oven at that point. Again, our oven is heating up really quickly. It's at 450 now. So by the time we get this seared, we can just pop it in. All right, guys, so we got the bottom side searing. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this in the oven. And I say from now until it reaches medium is about 4 to 5 minutes. So it won't take long. You wanna keep an eye on it. Again, so we're gonna, at that point, we'll pull it out, let it rest. And then at that point, we can do our red wine reduction. So we're ready to take this steak out. We had it in for about 4 minutes. So let's pull it out and just check the center of it. That's about medium right now. So that's good. And let's take it out of our pan because we're gonna need our pan and just let this rest on our cutting board. All right, guys, so we have this nice fond on the bottom of our pan from our steak. So we're gonna use that to make our sauce. So at this point, just go ahead and add in about maybe a tablespoon of shallots right to that pan. And already you can see they're getting some nice color on them. So just kind of cook those out a little bit. You got some nice flavor going on right there. So once you get those caramelized, go ahead and add in your red wine. So we're gonna add in about a cup of red wine. And from there, we're just gonna let that reduce down until it starts to thicken up. and become gelatinized, and then that will make our sauce. We'll add in just one pad of butter, just about maybe a teaspoon of butter to finish this sauce. All right, guys, so check it out. We got a nice kind of like buoyancy consistency of our red wine reduction. So we added in our butter. It's getting nice and thick. So at this point, we can let this reduce down a little bit further. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and start plating. We'll start with a nice dollop of our parsnip puree. Right at the top left corner of our plate, we'll do a generous amount of parsnip puree, and then we'll just kind of take our spoon and run a line right down the center of our parsnip puree. So now that we have our red wine reduction ready, we have our carrots roasted, let's go ahead and cut our steak. Okay, so what we want to do is we'll take it off of the towel. All right, guys, so we want to cut our steak on a bias and get nice even cuts, not too thick. We want to make sure it's cut straight through. And the reason why we let it rest so that the juices can kind of congeal up and that they don't run all over the plate. All right, guys, so check that out. That's a nice medium steak. So let's kind of gently carry it over. We got our nice steak plated. So let's go ahead and add in our rainbow colored carrots. And these are beautiful. They've been roasted. So we'll just kind of give them some height. And yeah, just right on the side. So as you see, we got a nice consistency. It's reduced down. We got our shallots in there. So basically, we're just going to kind of drizzle that over our steak and just kind of allow that to add some color to the steak. And then we'll just kind of finish the plate with that. And there you have it. That was another dope ass dish. All right, guys, that was another dope ass dish. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you think, and check us out on the next episode.